while giving this statement?
I just killed a man. I had blood on me still. It was the most traumatic event of my life. I was scared to death. I mean, it was the most traumatic event of my life. I don't know anybody who wouldn't be scared or stressed or terrified or anything. I mean, it was horrible.
I'm talking about giving your statement 2 hours later at a police station. You were nervous because you thought you were going to jail, right?
No. I gave him a statement. I mean, if I would have, I
somebody,
would.
you don't think you're going to jail, is what you're saying.
I was going through an investigation. I was following the investigation.
So, you saw Officer Duggan's body cam, correct? Officer Duggan, the first officer who testified, his body cam.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You were standing right behind Officer Duggan while all that went on, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, you've just shot Mr. Arbery 3 times with a shotgun, correct?
Correct.
He's dead on the scene, correct?
Correct.
He's unarmed, correct?
He was.
All right. And your father came up to you and grabbed you by the shoulders and went, "You had no choice, you had no choice," right? You saw that?
Yes.
All right. You're covered in Mr. Arbery's blood. You go down to the police station, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Any idea where that came from?
No.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Okay. And at that point, you're in the safety of the police department giving your statement, correct?
Yes.
All right. You got all the time in the world, correct?
Yes.
All right. And Detective Nohilly hasn't threatened you,
No,
hasn't forced you to make a statement,
he did not.
okay, and didn't promise you anything in order to get you to make the statement.
We'll look real quick. He did not.
Okay. But you're telling this jury that you're all confused and you can't get the facts straight as you're telling the police about why it was you shot and killed a man.
I was trying with my best ability, but like I said, under the circumstances of going through a traumatic event, this is the most traumatic event that I have ever been through in my life. I don't know how. I've never been through a situation like that, so the reaction, trying to go through and trying to be as factual and as detailed as I could, and then looking through the transcript and being scattered as it was, I could tell that obviously I failed attempting to try as best I could. This is what you got. I tried, and this is what happened.
So, fair to say you never told Detective Nohilly nor wrote down in your written statement that you told Mr. Arbery the police were on their way.
It seems that I attempted to say it in these words here.
And at that point, Mr. Arbery turns around and runs back down Burford to get away from you, correct?
That's correct.
So at this point in time, he's running away from you. He has not threatened you.
No.
Hasn't pulled out a gun.
No, ma'am.
Hasn't pulled out a knife.
He did not.
Still arms at his sides.
That's correct.
And he's trying to get away from you.
And I was letting him run away. Yes, ma'am.
You were letting him run away.
That's correct.
Wasn't it your intention to go around the block and cut him off and find him over on the other side?
To head him off and to see where he's located. That was my intention. Yes, ma'am.
All right. But you could have stopped right there and not done anything, right?
Yes, but then immediately after is when I saw his interaction with the black truck and realized that there is something to my suspicions here, and I would like to see where he is at when the cops come, which I assume that the police were on the way, that I would be able to tell them where he's at if they haven't located him at that point.
So you're telling this jury that your whole intention was just to go ahead and follow Mr. Arbery, keep an eye on him, and to just tell the cops there he is.
At that point, yes, ma'am.
Now, it's true that your father, while in the truck with you, going down Burford towards that end, was yelling at you, cut him off, cut him off, cut him off, right?
He was talking to me or was telling me, I don't know if he was saying cut him off or not. I know that he was saying there he is, that's the guy. After that, I am not sure exactly what he said.
At this point, you're still yelling at Mr. Arbery to stop at the end of Burford.
I was not yelling at him on Burford, no ma'am.
And at the end of Burford, you and your dad both got out of the pickup truck, correct?
When he turned and started running down Burford, when he was away, when he was not a threat, if he wanted to be a threat and he was going past that, yeah, I got out of the truck, yes ma'am. When he turned and running away is when I got out of the vehicle.
Why in the world would Mr. Arbery be a threat to you?
Because of when I asked him what was going on and recognized that it was the guy that I saw on the 11th and Mr. Albenzi pointing and everything going down and realized that it is him, and then how he reacted when I shined the lights on him on the 11th, he acted like he did not want to be, he was obviously caught sneaking through the front yard. He was obviously where he wasn't supposed to be, where he hasn't been several times, and then he reaches into his pants, like he has a gun, then I took that as a threatening gesture and walked in the house. Now it's the same guy on the 23rd that I've just pulled up to that turned out my father was correct. People pointing down the road, the same scene that this happened 12 days prior, that yes, there was a possibility that he may be armed with that gesture, but he didn't show me that, and he started running down the road. I was no longer under a threat if there was to be one, so I got out of the vehicle after my father got out of the vehicle to see what was going on and watch him.